everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bling Talks. I am your host, Anthony Haddad, and today we have this pleasure of speaking with Melanie Burke-Pohl from Diamonds Direct in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She has over 30 years of experience in all facets of the business, sales, operation, buying. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the call today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I appreciate it, and so does the community.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Of course. Well, you're definitely somebody we want to have on this. Your experience with family jewelers and then also the franchise is, I think, going to be extremely powerful. And it has a really good mix of experience because we do have a lot of family-owned jewelers on the podcast. But not so many of these, the big boys. So I'd love to dive into it. And I'd love to know, how did you get into the business?
Well, I was in retail management at Service Merchandise, and every time the district jewelry manager would come in, I was more in the customer service and showroom. He kept on asking me when I was going to go on board in jewelry, and I proceeded to say that I don't know anything about jewelry, and he said, "You'd be perfect at it." So then I went in briefly outside sales for Nestle chocolate, and then I went back to Service Merchandise, and they put me as a jewelry salesperson, and then that's history. From there, I stayed in the jewelry industry. Did not know anything about it when I first started. Sold purely on romance.
Yeah, and there's a lot to learn with jewelry. So I mean,
Yes.
Where'd you start? How'd you
So
learn?
whenever I left Service Merchandise, I had a son. I needed a more better schedule, so I went to a family-owned business, and from there, I took 2 steps backwards to become 3 steps ahead with being introduced to being a buyer, learning the technology of diamonds because people were more educated when they came into the store. It was called Goldstock Jewelers, and they were in the Clark Building, which is it's a big building it was like a diamond district. It's not as big anymore, but Goldstock, the owner gave me the opportunity to learn the business because I represented the business. I did buying. I was one of the top 3 salespeople there. When someone asked me a question, I didn't know the answer, I would get the answer. And that's how I learned. I did take a GIA course, but with that, I learned simply by my customers asking and me getting the right answer to them.
No better way to learn than
Yeah.
that. It kind of sticks with you forever
Mhm.
when you're learning on your own. That's outstanding. Okay, and so I guess that brings me to my next question. How did you go from where you were then to where you are now, and what time frame?
So I was at Goldstock Jewelers for 23 years. The owner decided he was pretty much wanted to retire and be done with the business. And the business was getting, again, it's a more complicated business each year. But he decided to retire and do a going out of business sale, which if anyone's never done that, it's horrible. It breaks your soul. It does break your soul because you're dealing with all these relationships you've built over the years, and you have to call your customers and tell them, guess what, we're going out of business, but you want to come down and make a last hurrah and make a purchase and take advantage of this going out of business sale. And then from there, I was reached out by a couple other independent jewelers throughout Pittsburgh, and I took an opportunity with another family-owned business for 2.5 years. And I Diamonds Direct reached out to me when they were building the store in Pittsburgh. I was not ready to make a move at that point, and then I wasn't happy with the current store I was working at. And then from there, I decided to listen to what Diamonds Direct had, and I walked in and I saw all familiar. More so, we sell everything at Diamonds Direct. But more bridal lines that I was familiar with being a purchaser of, knowing the owners of, and product knowledge. I felt very like this is where I need to be. selling, and that the bridal is the big thing at Diamonds Direct, but they have absolutely everything else. And we're getting into the watch world as well. And but the bridal lines that spoke to me when I walked in is what made me accept the position, because I love being part of that moment of engagement, wedding bands, and I want to be part of that future history when they're people that I got married, engaged, that are have their grandparents, and they're just like, Melanie waited on me back when, and it was a really memorable experience, and that's what I want, because jewelry is never a need; it is truly an emotion, and it's be part of that emotion.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we hear that a lot, especially from people on the sales floor,
Mhm.
because they really are involved in that experience. Um, awesome. So now here you are at Diamonds Direct. Let me ask you a question. What do the big box stores do differently than, your independent jewelers? Maybe one thing they do better and one thing maybe they don't do better.
So I would say that Diamonds Direct does a lot of advertising. They do a lot of radio, which works in a lot of different states better than others. Pittsburgh is not your radio advertising, and we've been working on different marketing strategies. We recently became partners with University of Pitt Athletics, so that's going to be something fabulous. We do a lot of um, marketing through the Pittsburgh Ballet, the Women's League of United Way. So we're very active in the community. So that in itself, I was involved in different fundraising issues through Goldstock Jewelers and whatnot. But with Diamonds Direct, there's more like being involved with the University of Pittsburgh partnership athletics. That's a big win for us, and we just got into that. But
Yeah.
and I keep on when I people that I'm waiting on, these young people that pit sweatshirts. I'm like, hey, we're partners. They're like, oh yeah, they get all excited about that. But Diamonds Direct has, I guess, more exposure than you would have independent family owned business. When I'm talking, when you have 26 stores versus an independent that has one or two, there's a difference. Um, we have, being that we're a direct diamond importer, we're able to eliminate, again, the old fashioned middleman along the way, because we have control of what we're purchasing, and we give our diamond experts, who are our salespeople, your own right in how you run your own business. With there's more more follow up with a new program we just started. I'm old fashioned. I'm still getting technically savvy, but um, I'm old fashioned. Like, I'm rating the notes and I look, oh, this person came in whenever, but now we're on to an app that we're working with to be more a strategy to following up and thank you notes and what's needs to be picked up yet so we can get paid on, etc. But
What
uh,
system are you guys using for that?
oh, it's a CRM, and I don't know the technical company. We literally just started it a couple days ago, so I'll find that out for you.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to know more about that. And you're definitely right about the exposure. I
Oh,
mean,
it's
any
Salesmate. Excuse me, Salesmate.
sales mate. Cool.
Hmm.
Cool. Very, very, very well versed in CRMs and all that good stuff, which I'd love to share some more information with you and stuff later. But
Hmm.
let's keep diving into this because yeah, typically, I'm hearing, I know they're spending tons of money and specifically in radio. And my first job, well, I worked for three publicly traded companies by the time I was 23. The third one was Belo, which
Hmm.
owned a bunch of different TV stations. So I was in traditional media, TV, billboards, radio, all that type of good stuff. But when the digital age came, things changed.
Hmm.
Uh, but I didn't expect you to say all these communities and organizations. So that is an outstanding high touch play. And I just didn't expect that. So kudos to that and
And
finding.
also, there's also like whenever my daughter's in a high school in the area, and anytime they need donations for the drama club, for they have a breast cancer football game that they have a pink out, we donate product and items to be raffled off and won and whatnot. So we're very active in the community, and I like to get my name out there, and people, because I lived here all my life, they reach out to me continuously to get
Yes.
donations.
Yeah.
But so I have to get the okay for the what the big boss is, but like, Melanie, who else is wanting something? I'm like, oh, they all come on, they're gonna buy, and they do come in and buy. So it's just,
Nice.
oh, and Ronald McDonald House too. So that's
Nice.
the big one. So that's enough. I keep on thinking back in the last 2.5 years that I've been here, how much the community we've touched.
I love to hear that. We're really about that over here. You know, I grew up, my dad was an immigrant. He was in war for 7 years. I mean, this guy was afro, mustache, ripped, barely spoke English. Um, but I felt for him. I got to see how hard that man worked. Our jewelry store was robbed by the Russian mafia my
Oh,
sophomore year
geez.
of high school, and then the Colombian mafia years later. But mainly the reason that I think we're here is that the jewelry industry really doesn't have um, a lot of resources. Like everybody's fighting for themselves and
Mhm.
trying to figure things out on themselves. So I think building that community and really to protect the business owners, because not everyone does have Diamonds Direct resources and
Mhm.
technology and advertising and all that type of stuff. So these independent guys, especially with this AI stuff coming, done. Like lab, there's a lot of things at risk. So um, I guess that being said, segue me into one con that you see, like that maybe that you see, hey, this is something that may be better with independence versus the franchise.
Okay. The when you're independent, you don't have as many structured goal setting.
Love
They
that.
really want someone to, and who really doesn't, but they really want people that are going to be able to represent and think fast on their feet. I was never a person to be afraid to make a decision if the owner wasn't available or he was on a phone call. I would make that decision, and I think I was well respected for that. I do have my own with Diamonds Direct. I do have my own call on what I can do in whatever the situation is in front of me. But there's more reports printed, and you need to just have answers for where there's more. It's more like goal setting, percentage of profit, how many people you waited on, did you close them, where I didn't have to deal with that. I'd have to deal with the owner saying, Melanie, why did they walk? Blah, blah, blah. But it was just more of a conversation versus then something was computerized and printed out. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Mhm.
So do you guys use the Edge?
No,
No.
I don't think so. I don't, that doesn't even ring a
You guys
bell.
have your point of sale, I assume.
Is
Like
that
when
for, you mean the computer
yeah,
programming or
yeah, when you
what?
guys database
It's,
when you guys go in and put in the birthdays and the sale, the point of sale when someone comes in and
oh,
purchase
it's ASC.
ASC. Okay, cool.
And I've actually dealt with that from Goldstock to the other independent that's still in business that I work for, and Diamonds Direct. Each one I've learned more through every year that we in the last 30 years of using it. So that's what it's at everyone that I've worked for has used this program.
Awesome. Okay, so this is perfect because, and I think this is very valuable to everybody. Um, I won't go into my experience with it, but I did just, I had my own startup, very challenging stuff, and we scaled that thing up. I think we generated like $9.2 million last year and took it from 140K. And reason I'm saying that is to say this, that you have experience with systems,
Mm-hmm.
KPIs, these reports. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk more about those, because I guarantee you 90% of these jewelers don't have any of
Mm-hmm.
these things. So maybe it will bring some value. So tell us about like the KPIs or the um structured goals. How do you guys plan for success, track success, etc.?
Well, we do have it's a the culture of Diamonds Direct, and you probably researched it, and it's you'll see even on LinkedIn, Rhinos of the Month. We our mascot or uh, our emblem to look up to is the rhino, which is charging forward, and that's what they want. And we do have. They insist upon having group outings to keep the connection within the family of the store. They whereas they want you to be close. They want you to be everyone wants to be a family, but they do make an effort in doing so with family. They celebrate when it was National Cheeseburger Day, got everyone cheeseburgers, pizza day. They do things to make it, for being a big company, make it more intimate with one another.
Sure, sure.
Does
I
that make
get it.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
So, but with the you're asking about the tracking and whatnot. They meet and let you know where you're standing and what your goals are. And there's more one-on-one than I would be, probably more than used to, or I'd be begging my previous the one place, Goldstock, that I work for, give us, you need to talk to your people, give us feedback where we are. You get the feedback at Diamonds Direct.
Sure. Awesome. Um, okay, so I think two more questions I want to ask you. Number one is if you have any advice for somebody out there, given the 30 years of experience that you've had, um, just a tip, whatever it may be. It could be personal, it could be strategic. And then the last question will be kind of geared around AI technology, things like that. So which one do you want to take first?
So I'm just going to say the best advice I can tell anyone, and people do ask me that are they're younger, getting into what I do. What do you say, Melanie? And the key to it is, again, it's you need to build relationships. You cannot just you cannot just have that sale that and then be done with it. You need follow up. You need to remember something special that that person told you, because that is an emotion. Most of them are very emotional purchases. And that's why I have a fabulous following for the 30 years. They follow me everywhere I go because of that old fashioned looking them in the eye relationship. I will also say, listen. Number two is listen to what someone's asking. Don't tell them what if they ask for your opinion, you give it. But I hear people say, Melanie, you listen to what I said. You listen to what I want. You got me to where I wanted to be. But listening is a big factor. Third of all, if someone wants to spend a couple $100 or $100,000, you take care of them exactly the same. And do not prejudge. I hear a lot of people that are prejudged walking in the store. You never know what's in someone's pocket.
Yeah. Wow. Those are three amazing tips. That was great. That
Hmm.
was great. Um, so artificial intelligence, technology, obviously main pillar in business. What do you think about AI, and how are you guys really at Diamonds Direct, you know, how are you guys integrating that? Has it been like a huge topic yet, or how do you guys plan to use it?
When you say AI, what are you relating to?
So
I need.
artificial intelligence is
Mhm.
just um when you're asking a machine to do something that humans would typically do.
Okay.
Um so for example, like I could show you right now, I design jewelry
Hmm.
just using my words.
You mean with like CAD imaging and whatnot?
Mm,
When someone creates a CAD of a customization or?
there's design, and there's also a lot of it is being used for like copy. Like, for example, my recording, my otter right now, cutting
Mhm.
costs,
Okay.
being able to create 10 times the content or reduce costs 1/10 in certain areas, because basically you have a machine that knows every language, has graduated every college with every
Mhm.
degree, knows everything.
Mhm.
So, and I can surely give you a ton of applications of how it's being used and we're using it, but
Mhm.
just curious, like at the franchise level, has it been brought up, or has nothing really been discussed?
And maybe you've discussed in a way that is not being as you're presenting it to me. You're talking more so holding on to the information that's being keyed in. Is that what you're saying? The computers handling the
Like,
information.
let's say I needed to write a Mother's Day email, okay,
Yeah.
for follow-ups that you guys are having trouble with. I use AI to automate all that.
Okay.
If they didn't reply, I'll reply, and I'll respond in 3 days. If they purchase something, I'll send them to a thank you page, and I'll upsell them something and hit.
We have to be doing something in that regard through our marketing home office department. No question on that,
Yeah,
because
you guys got to
we
have
do
marketing.
send we send uh, hello, it's your birthday. Hello, it's your anniversary. Here's a coupon for 250 off your purchase of a certain amount. So we are targeting that through when you get the email and you capture the email and follow up if a customer is willing to give the email. And I will tell them they'll get special invites to certain programs and shows and different things that most won't have if you do that. If that's what you're relating to, is that what you're thinking
Yeah,
about? Is
that's
that
like basic marketing automation.
yeah.
Ours goes a little further, but what we did in our CRM is we integrated artificial intelligence in there. So let's say I wanted to make a social media post.
Mhm.
I don't have a post. I'll just go in there, tell it what type of post I want, what tone I want it in.
Mhm.
It'll write the Facebook post for you, the Facebook ad. If I don't have an image, I can say, hey, I need an image of a Takori ring, fine detailed, yellow canary stone at the top, blah 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 blah, and it'll pump out the image. Not
Okay.
always perfect, but basically the whole idea is I'm using AI to bring you guys more time, more customers, less headache.
Mhm.
It should just go straight to the appointment. But we'll talk about that later.
Mhm.
I definitely want to have and build a relationship with you.
Okay.
As everyone in the community, I'll have June reach out, jump into the Slack channel. There's not a lot of activity there, but when we have about 50 jewelers in there,
Mhm.
we'll start kicking it up. Um, I'll give you guys a 14-day free trial of jewelrybox.ai CRM as well. A whole bunch of stuff. He'll reach out to you. And I will set a follow-up call for us just so I can get you in. You can move it. We need to. Um, oh, you know what? We'll go ahead and stop the recording now.
Okay.
Before we do that, please, anybody that wants to get a hold of Melanie, for any reason at all, please tell them how they can get a hold of you, whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, or just the website, however you want to be
So
contacted.
it's obviously the our website for is www.diamondsdirect.com. My email is melanieb@diamondsdirect.com. I do have my own independent Facebook page that I put together for the community. And where I live is called North Hills, and it's called North Hills Jewelry Gal. And I will post engagements, specials that we're having, shows that we're having. And really, the end result of that one was that I had my biggest sale by just promoting on my local Facebook page, which was kind of cool. And then
Nice.
I do my own TikTok. It's Melanie B, I believe. I have it. Melanie, my daughter got me involved in it, but I
Uh,
will post jewelry items on there, and some on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. I post a little bit, but Facebook, North Hills Jewelry Gal, and I'm in the Pittsburgh location 412-837 9070 Diamonds Direct.
Awesome. So yeah, Diamonds Direct in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Melanie Burke, absolute pleasure to talk to you today and to meet you. And I look forward to continue to grow the relationship and seeing you kick butt.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was wonderful, and
I'm so
enjoy
glad
the
we
sun
got
in
that.
Florida. It's sunny in Pittsburgh today, which it was rainy the other days, but so we're having a sunny day. So
You know how that goes. No, it was an absolute pleasure, Melanie.